Despite the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, for the past year, the looming fear for every Israeli citizen has been the prospect of an all-out conflict on the northern front with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Backed by Iran and armed with over 150,000 missiles, Hezbollah is considered the largest and most powerful Iranian proxy and terrorist organization in the world. Now, 1 year into this war, that reality has arrived. I'm Yair Pinto, and this is My State, a program about current events, my belief in God, and my journey in the Holy Land. And behind these hills is Lebanon, where only a few minutes ago, Hezbollah launched a barrage of rockets at us. We had to take shelter. That's why I'm all filled with dirt and dust. Since October 8, 2023, Hezbollah has fired over 10,000 rockets into Israel, displacing more than 60,000 Israelis and turning northern Israel into a war zone. While the conflict was mostly confined to a 5-kilometer radius on both sides, September 2024 witnessed an escalation unlike anything seen before. In mid-September, Israeli intelligence carried out a sabotage operation that detonated thousands of Hezbollah's beepers and walkie-talkies, terminating dozens and wounding thousands of terrorist operatives. Israel did not claim responsibility for this attack yet. On September 27, Israel conducted an airstrike that terminated Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, at the group's Beirut headquarters, following a month-long campaign that eliminated several senior Hezbollah figures, and finally, at the end of September, in an operation called Operation Northern Arrow, the Israeli Defense Forces began limited ground operations to target Hezbollah's infrastructure in the area south of the Litani River. All of this has given Israel a significant advancement in its ultimate goal of ensuring that displaced Israeli civilians can safely return to their homes, free from the kind of threat witnessed on October 7th when Hamas launched its deadly assault on the southern border with Israel. However, in response, Hezbollah has dramatically widened its missile attacks, firing deeper into Israel than ever before, while maintaining relentless assaults on the northern border region, further complicating Israel's efforts to secure the north. To better understand how we got here, we need to understand the history behind Hezbollah. The First Lebanon War, or Operation Peace of the Galilee, began in 1982, when Israel invaded southern Lebanon in response to ongoing attacks from the Palestinian Liberation Organization, which had established a stronghold in the area. Israel's goal was to drive out the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, and secure its northern border. Israel maintained a self-declared security zone in southern Lebanon to protect its northern border from attacks by militant groups like Hezbollah, which had emerged during the conflict. Hezbollah was formed in 1982 with significant support from Iran. Iran's 1979 post-revolution regime sent Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps advisors to Lebanon's Bekaa Valley to train Hezbollah fighters, providing them with funding, weapons, and strategic guidance. Hezbollah quickly grew into a formidable Shia militant group, defining itself by its opposition to Israel. Its primary objectives were to drive Israel out of Lebanon and ultimately destroy the Jewish state. In 2006, the Second Lebanon War erupted after Hezbollah kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers in a cross-border raid. The conflict lasted 34 days with heavy casualties on both sides as Israel aimed to weaken Hezbollah and push its forces away from the border, while Hezbollah sought to demonstrate its military strength. The war ended with Israel completely withdrawing from southern Lebanon and the promise of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701, which established a demilitarized zone south of the Litani River, barring Hezbollah from operating in the area. However, since October 8, Hezbollah has violated this resolution on a daily basis, leaving Israeli towns on the northern border destroyed and evacuated. In fact, Israel's recent military escalation and kicking operations in the north into a high gear was triggered after Israeli intelligence uncovered Hezbollah's plans for an attack mirroring Hamas's October 7th assault. The operation, known as the Plan to Conquer the Galilee, aimed to infiltrate northern Israel, targeting civilian communities and military posts with the goal of massacring and kidnapping Israelis. This plan was to spearhead by Hezbollah's elite Radwan forces, which had been preparing for years. In July, I traveled up north to the Alma Research Center to hear a quite frightening in-depth analysis of the Hezbollah threat. I'm on my way there again to hear about the current situation and if the IDF's recent operations have shifted the power dynamic.
How
are you doing? In the past year, it was like the fear that Hezbollah, when they start a full-scale war against Israel, we're going to have 3,000 rockets every day. The elite unit, Radwan, of Hezbollah, infiltrating Israeli communities, taking over, capturing Israeli cities. Is this threat still existing?
There's many layers to the effect of this war. And just like we suffered it in evacuated communities and schools and businesses, and this, now it's happening in Lebanon. Hundreds of Israeli airplanes go in and hit every target that we essentially can know the location. That, with the beepers, with the elimination of commanders, I think overwhelmed Hezbollah for now. There's still thousands of weapons there. Launchers, rockets, missiles. Is there anyone that can coordinate this attack? I'm not sure. I hope not. Maybe we saved ourselves from this part of the threat, but I wouldn't say it's over yet. And I think the current threat that IDF is trying to thwart in this current limited operation, we're calling this, is the really close range.
Yeah.
I assume every community that looks up and sees a Lebanese community, a Hezbollah post, I assume IDF is there. It won't save the mortars, it won't stop the missiles, the rockets, but it will stop the immediate threat. And if we want to start changing the situation of the past year now, of communities, people that are evacuated, we want to bring them home, then we have to take care of at least that first step.
What did Nasrallah's assassination change?
Obviously, it's symbolic. Nasrallah is Hezbollah. But apart from that, Nasrallah is a very charismatic leader.
Yes.
Very influential, very connected to Iran, and very connected to his people. Hezbollah's main strength is not Iran necessarily, it's the people, right? Where are his positions? Where are the weapons? Where does he live? Amongst the people.
Yeah.
Right? Everything is in a village, in a town, in a Shiite community, in the basement, or on the roof, or in the school, or in the hospital that he built for them. So that connection is important. Once you take out the top of the pyramid, then the pyramid is a little lost. Lebanon is in a terrible situation. Even before October 7th, Hezbollah took the position, and smartly did it, as were the defenders of Lebanon. And everything that collapsed, Hezbollah, with the support of Iran, said, I'll take care of it. So I'll bring the Shiite people the ambulances they need, the COVID vaccinations, the food, the gasoline, the electricity. And now, I think some of the people in Lebanon are realizing this is what Hezbollah did to us. But you hear that essentially from communities that are not supported by Hezbollah and do not support Hezbollah. Christian, Sunni, Druze that are saying, we could have been in a completely different situation if the money was spent, invested in different places as opposed to tunnels, underground infrastructure, weapons. We could have been back to where Lebanon was years ago as a tourism site.
Paris of the Middle East.
Exactly. Lebanon is beautiful.
Yes, definitely. I want to dig a little bit into the tunnel network of Hezbollah.
Obviously, at the end of 2018, IDF revealed the 6 tunnels that crossed the border, but they have many other tunnels. They have tunnels that bring them closer to the border. They have strategic tunnels that cross Lebanon under the ground that allow them to bring people, cars, trucks under the ground, safe from our sight, and weapons from the Baqa towards South Lebanon, which essentially gives them the connection to Syria, to Iran, the ground connection, and to Beirut. That's the strategic tunnels. And you also see tunnels that are meant to be blown up under the bridges, under the roads, under houses.
Meaning once the IDF maneuvers above them, then
it's
they
a trap.
blow up the tunnels and everything collapses.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think all that has to be taken into consideration by the forces that are right now in Lebanon in this limited ground maneuver that IDF started.
Iran, how are they involved at the moment? Are they pressuring Hezbollah to launch more attacks? Are they telling them, hold off a little bit? What's the situation with Iran and what's the instructions they give Hezbollah?
The main rule is never underestimate your enemy. Yeah. Iran is a very calculated enemy. Grassroots approach. They're aware this is a process. They're not attacking us from their guts. Yeah. They're using their brains. That's why they're using the proxies and not their own weapons. I think they're calculating their steps carefully. Mm-hmm. And I think they're also overwhelmed from the fact that Hezbollah is suddenly undercut completely, and all this investment maybe is down the drain, complete waste. And I think they're reevaluating and rethinking the situation, and they'll look for another weakness, and then they'll retaliate. I think this will continue unless we really change the political, strategical situation, which we're trying to do. Iran is an agent of chaos, of terror, that threatens Israel, threatens the United States, right? The Houthi flag does not say only death to Israel. Yeah. It says God is great, right? Allah is great, and then it says death to America, first and foremost, and then death to Israel. And the West has to understand this, right? These weapons that are made in Iran are being sold to Venezuela, or sold to Russia, or all over the world. What is Israel going to do about Iran? If you ask me, what's the world going to do about Iran? Because if we're forced to go alone, it will be very difficult to eliminate that threat. Hezbollah, we could deal with them. That's our job.
So do you see that Hezbollah has a future in Lebanon?
Let's take ISIS as an example. ISIS was a major threat that we barely remember now. Yeah. Does ISIS still exist as an idea? Yeah. Definitely. Are they a threat? Not anymore. I think everyone should realize that no one wants war in Israel. We all want peace. 3 times a day, it's part of our prayer to pray for peace. Sometimes war is a means to an end. The goal is peace, not war. Yeah. Once you're forced to go to war, you have to do it as strong as you can, as fast as you can. And if we all pray for peace and support the powers that are calling for peace, we'll be in a better place.
Though the threat we face is daunting, and as we brace to what seems to be the peak of this massive multi-front war, we stand strong. Beyond our brilliant military and intelligence capabilities, we hold on to something even more powerful, our faith. We know that as we battle this hideous evil, God is with us, guiding and protecting us every step of the way. With this belief, we find the courage to press forward and the hope that no matter how dark the times are, we will prevail. So please pray for the safety of our nation and the soldiers fighting and defending Israel on all fronts. May we all have the strength to continue to endure until pure evil is defeated. Please pray for the innocent civilians in Lebanon who are caught in the crossfire, and for the liberation from the grip of extremist terror and oppressive regimes. Please pray for the return of our hostages still suffering in Gaza after a whole year. And please pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.